Good morning. I think given the results over the last week or so, it would be I wouldn't blame anybody for thinking it's an up and down emotional week between what happened on Saturday and then the high of Wednesday. But I guess what has been your perspective on the atmosphere around the team heading into this weekend, and is that a fair assessment or is it completely off?
Well, typically, wins and losses and good performance and bad performance can bring out the obvious emotions. But there was disappointment after the weekend, and the guys are in a better place because of how they improved and how they approached the Miami game to have a better performance and a better outcome. So they don't get too high or too low. They have a pretty good understanding of when we're doing things right and when we get it wrong. So we go into Salt Lake, I think, in a good way off of a good performance, but now it's over, and we need to or already have shifted our focus to an in-form Salt Lake team. So I'm happy with where the group's at.
You mentioned it. They're undefeated in their last five.
Mm-hmm.
You've mentioned in the past that you tend to look at teams in their recent run of form most particularly. What about this recent run for RSL stood out to you?
I think on the defensive side of the ball, I think they apply pressure in a really good way. It's a very collective effort in how they do that. There's been variation in their pressing, but they step up to the ball well. And in moments where opponents have broken their pressure, they recover behind the ball very well. There's a good commitment there to get organized and defend the goal, and in transition, a good commitment to get behind the ball. So I think that's a big strength of their team. Technically, I think they're strong. Good combination play. They're attacking mids with Gonçalves and Luna. Very impactful. They have good speed up top, so it's a pretty good balance. And I think the form that they're in and the results that they're getting is credit to Pablo and the staff, the work they're doing, because they look like a strong team.
There were two stats I noticed when kind of looking at RSL season that I know these can be kind of isolated and not pointed to anything in specific. They might not even be correlated, but two things that stood out was that they're second in passes completed over 30 yards and second in fouls committed this season. Does that speak to maybe a style of play, or are those two things? I mean, those two things don't have to be correlated, but it kind of strikes me as being aggressive in the way they want to attack a game.
If you look at the fouls, they're an aggressive team. So aggressive, but what I don't see is reckless. So maybe, because you step to the ball in an aggressive way, there's going to be more fouls. We didn't dissect that too much. The pass completion percentage over distance is typically when you have, a back line or, holding midfielders from deeper positions that are strong with their passing over distance. And I think they have guys that can do that really well. And, altitude, maybe that factors into it with, I don't know what the home and away breakdown is, but balls travel in Salt Lake. And, maybe they look to take advantage of that because they can, get the distance and the timing right.
Yeah, thanks for the time as always. Just obviously kind of third match in a little bit over a week, second of the actual week. How big of a factor is rotation going to be, specifically up front with kind of Kevin out, Kai playing significant minutes in the last two games, and then kind of Dotto filling in and Sergio coming back?
I think the guys have recovered really well, and that's the information we got yesterday and this morning. So we've had all of our conversations to put a strong group out there. We factored in the two games prior to Salt Lake, how they played out, with certain positions and the depth we have, what makes the most sense to have a rotation if we do, and with the idea of having fresh legs and a strong group to go out and start the game in a good way.
Absolutely. And then just on RSL's side, obviously, Diego Luna is a player that gets talked about a lot, especially with his recent national team performances. Kind of, what have you seen from him specifically with RSL that kind of makes him stand out, just 21 years old?
I think he's got a good feel for movement off the ball to find space for himself. I think he sees pressure in a good way to be able to combine with his teammates and moves off the ball in those moments really well to free himself up. Good dribbler, can beat you with shots from distance, can beat you on the dribble. Very active and very effective. And, at a young age, you can see a player that is hungry and has improved a great deal in a short amount of time. So I think his the recognition and, everything that's the attention that he's getting is well deserved because he's performing with his club and he got an opportunity with the U.S. team and did a good job there as well. So a good challenge for our group.
Yeah, and then just on your side, a young player, obviously, Dado's been, might have an opportunity to play a little bit more with kind of Kevin out. Kind of, what have you seen from him developmentally wise, and where are you pushing him to grow a little bit more? Even if he's not playing in that preferred position for him necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think the conversations around Dado have changed too much as far as what we're seeing and what he's capable of. Does a really good job on his movement to find that first goal. I think it was a good disciplined effort from him defensively. With the ball, I think it's always around consistency with young players and in games and being able to play in different types of games, against a physical team, against a team that sits back. I think that's where the improvement can be for Dado is just being able to adapt to different opponents and different structures to understand how to impact the game. But, he's done a good job with the production aspect of it. That part has improved this year considerably, so we're pleased about that. And now I think I've said it before, it's other aspects of the game to know your defensive responsibilities, to change speeds at the right time. It's not about sprinting all over the field, but understanding how to create space with the ball for yourself, for your teammates defensively, how to make play clear with pressing moments. So those are things we continue to work with Dado on.
Pat, you mentioned a little bit earlier about the altitude that this game will be played at, 4,500 feet, the second highest in MLS. You've been very clear in the past, whether it be playing surface, temperature, games, and schedule congestion, guys need to be prepared and understand what that looks like. But how does that elevation factor into the way you guys will prepare this week, and can it change the way you have to map out a game?
It won't change how we approach the game as far as tactically or, with ways that we want to impact the game with and without the ball. It's awareness. Guys, the ball's going to travel in a different way. You're going to have more distance when you're playing in a more direct way. Understand when we're on the defensive side of the ball, how the ball travels to understand how to not let plays get behind you. Maybe it's the surface is a little bit more firm. How does it bounce in altitude? All of those things, it's just understanding the differences that we might experience outside of altitude. So because of the week that we've had, the other factors are how fresh can we be. So we'll try to approach it in an aggressive and a calculated way to go and be successful. So outside of just the message, the awareness of it, how we approach the game, is the personnel we're going to have out there, the opponent we're up against, and how we think we can have success on the evening.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.